Hey guys, it's Kosophia and the high ranks. Ignore the background. We are going to talk about the Wilderness Tournament, which is going to be happening in June, and this is a demonstrational video about how the tournament is going to be run and what you should be sort of expecting to see. And this is also a guide. So, the Wilderness Tournament, it's PvP, sort of Hunger Games based. We do host the odd Hunger Game events, but this is sort of a huge tournament and it's going to be a huge reward. The reward is going to be something over 75 mil, but it's not sort of planned yet. So to start off, we are in the wilderness, of course. Team size will be about 3v3, 4v4, 5v5. It depends how many people sign up, and we're sort of trying to keep it balance, so as well as the combat levels, we don't really high levels versus low levels, so we sort of have to balance out the amount of skill level and combat level are in the team. So what is the Wilderness Tournament? It is, you start in the wilderness with nothing at all. Ignore my inventory, I'll go on to this in a minute, but as you can see, Linz and Tyler on my screen at the moment. They are not equipping anything, and they are just fishing. So you start off with nothing at all, and you sort of team up with your team, and you can't sort of go out of that team, if you know what I mean. Whereas on other Hunger Games, you could sort of team up if you want, or you'd kill, or go FFA if you would say. So it's team based, team versus team. And it's all about tactics and really much teamwork there. And you basically really got to focus on teamwork and tactics. Better way to say it. So, thank you, Liz. That's the starting up of the tournament. It's going to be start of June. It's going to be hosted 4 times a month. So it's like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, different time zones. I believe it's going to be 2 sort of rounds in a week, 1 GMT and 1 Eastern sort of Americanish time. So it's a fair chance for everybody to participate. I won't go into a huge amount of detail on how this is all going to run. You would expect a forum post on the ARF site and the RS forums, really detailed. This is just a demonstrational video on how it's going to work, so we don't want to sort of blab about everything. So for more information on sort of like the teams, the rules, and other stuff, I'll basically give a rundown on the rules later on in this video, but not right now. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how's it really going to be PvP with all the no items and other stuff? So obviously you're going to start off with nothing but from the basic tools from the tool belt, and those are all you're going to need. So it's not like the Hunger Games where you get a random item given to you. You only have your tools. So as you can see at the moment, we have the high ranks fishing, and I don't know where they got big words from. So they are fishing, and obviously if you're going to start off with nothing, you need to get fish to get food. So there is this fishing spot on the wilderness. Yes, I am whoever said that. And food is a huge part of PvP, as I don't really need to tell you. So you're going to need to come to this fishing spot to gather food. So obviously that food is going to be raw, so you're going to need to find a cuttable log. Okay, so we found some trees and we have raw food. So obviously you see Tyler and Cry now cooking the food, and this is obviously one of the main places where there's trees. So you're going to be doing a lot of travelling to find the trees and the logs. You can, gather some logs. If you're by this area, you could get the logs first, then go to a fishing spot. But you have to remember, you have to stay as a group. You can't, split up. So it's really how effective you use your time and I'll be talking about the time in a little bit. Okay, so you have all that food, and what's the point in having food if you still can't do combat? So obviously you're gonna need some armor and weapons and ammunition as well. So here we are at a mine in the wilderness. There's numerous of mines. It really depends where you go and what you do. So one of these mines, each mine contains different stuff. Just looking now, this one contains mithril, coal, and I'm sure it contains an adamant rock somewhere. Oh, and iron ore, of course. So some mining spots contain iron, some contain adamant, and they even contain rune ore. So it really depends who's going to get that rune ore first. So with the ore, it's going to take up a quite amount of, slots if you're going to sort of make armor for everybody. You might even have to do 2 runs to like a mine, and you're obviously going to need to smith this ore to sort of make good use of it. Now we're at one of a few furnaces, I believe, in the wilderness. Obviously with the ore you need to smelt them into bars, and there's numerous of mining spots, but there's only about I think there's only one furnace in the wilderness, and that is in the ruins to the east. So as you saw, the mining spot was in the west, the furnace is in the east, and I believe anvils are in the west again. So it's really how well you sort of time and sort of plan your sort of, I'll tell you later on in the video. So smithing, you're going to smelt them into bars, of course. You're probably going to aim for looking for the higher tier bars, and sort of what you're going to plan on smithing those bars into, because it is all about preparation. So if you've mined if you've smelted 4 addy bars and you're looking to make a adamant plate, you're 1 bar short, so it's all about preparing it. And we're at the western anvil. There's only this anvil, I believe, and as you can see, Linz is smithing something at the moment from the bars she mined and smelted. So here's a tip. There is a magic tree. If you don't want to go all the way south of the wilderness to the sort of like greenish bit by the border to get like the normal trees, you can always risk it by going to the magic tree. And the risk factor of this is, well, I'll tell you later again about all the risks which will be happening. So after you've got the weapons and the food, you're really going to start looking for something higher. There's the rune ore, which you could risk sort of spending time getting to that location and sort of smithing something like a rune scimitar, which doesn't really need that much ore, or a rune dagger, of course. But there's also green dragons, and there's red dragons as well. Obviously, if you kill these dragons, you get the green dragon hide leather, but they aren't tanned, so that's where the trader comes in, and I'll be talking about the trader later on. So you've probably heard me mention the trader. So what is a trader, and what do they do, and how do they benefit you? So a trader is a high rank who has some items in their inventory. For example, if you look at my inventory, so earlier on in the sort of where we're at with green dragons, you're probably thinking, what's the point in getting green dragons when you can't tan the leather or even craft them because you don't have no thread? Well, that's where the trader comes in. So you can trade some items, whatever you gain. So you could mine some mithril ore and change that, exchange it for some thread or some feathers. Feathers, of course, will be used for the arrows, for the, you can cut the trees. Well, they'd have to be the normal trees. To make arrow shafts, you use the arrows on the arrow shafts, and then you'd mine some, or smith some bars, smelt some bars, and then smith some arrowheads. Or darts, it depends what range you want to use. So, And if you do kill some dragons and you sort of get about 5 green dragon hides, you'd, with your team of course, come to the trader. You'd trade the high rank, for example, let's say it was me, and I trade my crafted, well, my tanned, depends if they get red or green, I'd give the tanned version for their non-tanned version, so they can craft something. So that's what the trader will benefit, and that's sort of where we'll be. So that's how the trader will benefit you, and the trader will be at the wilderness ditch. So if you've killed some green dragons, let's say at the eastern spot, you could, obviously you'd have to come away north of Goblin Village and come to a trader. So it's all about time. Okay, so finally on to the time rule. So when we first start off, round 1 for example, you sort of, if you bump into the other team, you can't do combat, and this combat timer is for 20 minutes. So you cannot attack the other team for 20 minutes, and we will let you guys know. So this includes a lot of tactics, and like I was saying earlier, on how you use your time wisely. It's only 20 minutes. Do you need to gather the most ore and weapons? Do you need to gather the most food, get everybody stocked up, or do you need to sort of get sort of like kill dragons? Because if you're camping dragons and you're getting everybody range gear, then that's probably going to take 20 minutes, and it's going to be time consuming, and you might not even get the chance to get food. Obviously, when this time is up, you can't sort of, well, we can't sort of stop you from gathering more. So if you needed food and the timer was still running, you bump into the other team gathering food, you can't attack them. If the timer's gone and you can attack each other, your team needs food and the other team needs food, you're going to randomly bump into each other, and from there you either kill each other, you try damage them and try save your own, well, try to save your ass, but try to damage them as well. It's sort of, what do you do then? It's all about where you're going and what you do with your time. So that's the time rule.